Hi there, welcome back to the oil and gas exports course. I am Rizwan Khazi. In this video, I am going to talk about how to prevent financial losses. So make sure to watch this video until the end. If you haven't yet joined my full course on oil and gas exports, there is a link in the description. Click it to access the complete course. Before we dive into preventing financial losses, I want to first explain two key points here, key topics: the seller mandate and the tank extension fee. Let me take you back to July 2023 at the port of Rotterdam, Europe's busiest, one of the Europe's busiest oil terminal. A seller mandate we worked with had secured a deal with a supposed buyer from Nigeria. The offer looked very legit. The LOI was drafted and the buyer had even scheduled a dip test. Everything seemed perfect. But here's the twist: what happened? 3 days before the dip test, the terminal sent a notice. The buyer hadn't paid the tank extension fee. Turns out this buyer didn't have enough funds to hold the tank space. That means the buyer don't have the funds to for booking the tank for injection of the fuel. What the buyer hoped is to find another buyer and flip the deal. This is what is happening in this industry. They don't have the money. They are thinking that they will get a new buyer and they will flip the deal to other buyer. What happened? The deal collapsed. The seller lost over like say 90 days of market time and paid over like say $85,000 in storage fees, and worse, missed a real offer. And what happened? Actually, the seller had another offer from a Chinese real buyer. But this buyer, this fake buyer, asked documents in a hurry. They told that a tank is ready. We have booked the tank and everything. Then due to this, what happened? There was no tank storage available with that buyer. That deal collapsed. But the seller lost an actual deal. Therefore, these kind of things happen in this industry, and sellers will get a lot of financial losses. To avoid this, what we have to do now, let's break down what actually happened. So here I am going to discuss few points which will help you to prevent these kind of losses in this oil and gas industry. Now, coming to financial commitment. Buyers without sufficient funds can't maintain tank space commitments for long time. In this business, serious buyers, they will secure storage with real funds. They will not hope like that. They will not, if the buyer is serious, they will not hope that okay, the next buyer is going to come and I'll flip the deal. No, the serious buyer will book the storage facility, but inadequately funded buyers can't maintain those tanks for long time. And when the tanks go unpaid, terminals, what they will do? Terminals cancel access, causing immediate deal failure. Now, in one of the examples in, I can say in Dubai, early in 2024, a buyer mandate lost over like say 3 million USD deal after the buyer's funds ran out midway through a 14-day holding window. The tank operator revoked storage access and the seller refused further negotiation. Why? Because seller was frustrated. Seller was ready to inject the fuel into the tank of the buyer, but what happened? There was no availability of the storage with the buyer's storage was not available. The seller got frustrated and the deal collapsed. And further, the seller never negotiated with those kind of buyers. Now, coming to the next point, transaction abandonment. Unfunded buyers often attempt negotiations with legitimate buyers or simply walk away. Now you can see unfunded buyers often try to buy time, sometimes by reaching out to other mandates to resell the same deal. This will happen. First of all, what they will do, they will search for the sellers, real sellers, and wander here and there, and they will get the real sellers. And Why these people are doing like this? Because they want some time. They get the seller, and after that, what happens? They want to flip the deal. They will start searching for the buyer, actual real buyers, because they want to flip the deal. Now, in some other cases, if those buyers don't have that funding ability, they just disappear. Either way, what happens is the transaction will collapse. In one another example, a seller in Houston reported a mandate from South Africa who ghosted mid transaction. Buyer was unavailable. The seller started the transaction, but the buyer was unavailable. After failing to secure a letter of credit, when the seller asked for the letter of credit, the buyer was nowhere. So the seller had to retract all submitted documents to prevent misuse. It was a headache for the seller. Why? Because those documents are crucial documents. If those documents were not taken back from those buyers, what happened? It will be circulated all over internet. Therefore, you have to understand this point. You have to check if the buyers have actual tank storage facility or not. That is very much important. Next, coming to resource entanglement, sellers' products remain locked in storage while awaiting transaction completion. What do I mean by that? Your product isn't it just sitting pretty in the tank? It's occupying some space, requiring constant monitoring, safety compliance, and ready-to-dip preparations. All these things need to be done. When a transaction gets stuck, your supply chain will start suffering. So, in another case, I can say in Fujairah, 50,000 metric tons of diesel was locked up for 3 weeks due to stall deal. The product was available in the storage tank of the seller, 50,000 metric tons for 3 weeks. So you can see how much loss that seller got, because the seller was monitoring the product, seeing or looking into the compliance, safety compliance, and the seller was ready for the deep press preparation and all those things. So here, what happened? The seller lost a lot of things. Then what happened? The terminal refused to move the product without new documentation, because the tank storage terminals will have to also show to the government of that particular government's country, whichever the country in the country the product is. They have to give the documents why the product is sitting in there. They have to give all the details, or they have to collect the charges from the sellers. So it is sometimes it will become difficult for the seller to do all the new documentations immediately, because they have trusted the previous buyer. So this will happen. Now coming to next point, we can see storage fees accumulate. Extended delays result in mounting costs. As you know that for maintaining product in terminals, it's not free. The maintenance of the product is not free. The seller has to provide the payment, like per day payment for that storage. Terminals don't work for free. Every day adds some cost. They will charge for space, fuel condition monitoring, and sometimes extra fees if product access isn't cleared on time. Why? Because they have those terminals will have some other bookings on those days. So they will also lose a lot of their client base. In Singapore, a seller mandate paid unexpected, like say $54,000 into 5 times a storage penalty in 2023. You see, after buyer kept postponing inspection for 10 days. The delay wasn't just expensive, it damaged the seller's credit relationship with the terminal. You heard it right. It will damage the reputation with the terminals. Sellers have good relationship with the terminal, the storage terminals. But what happens if they are not lifting the product in time, and if they are unable to pay the charges? What happens? the credibility of the seller will be not there before the terminal owners, right? So you have to remember, therefore, before starting the deal, if you go and ask for the financial capacity of the buyer and also the tank storage facility of the buyer, that will help you to close the deal in time. And also seller will not get any loss and also the buyer will not get any loss. So this you have to remember in oil and gas industry. That is very important, very, very important point. Next, coming to opportunity cost. Tied up inventory prevents sellers from pursuing legitimate market opportunities. The worst part, while you are stuck with a dead deal, the market moves on. Crude prices will shift. Now you see seller gave the product price, some say $550 or $580. And if the product is stuck in the storage tanks for 10 days, 20 days, whatever, the same market price will not be there. It will move up or down. So with that also there will be lot of loss to the seller. New buyers emerge, but your product will be frozen in the limbo, right? New buyers will come up, but your product is there. There will be loss. There will be loss to seller. Why? Because due to the price shifts. Now the new buyers will come up and ask for less price, because they will understand that, okay, this seller is having injected the product in the seller's tank or terminal and unable to pay the cost, a day-to-day cost of this terminal. That is why new buyers will come up and they will ask for very low prices. In that way also the seller will get losses. So you have to remember, before starting the deal, this tank storage availability of the buyer should be taken care. That's a very important point. So what's the lesson here? Verification isn't optional, it's survival. Don't just ask for a letter of intent, ask for the TSR with proof of paid storage. Obviously, you'll do this step by step as per the procedure, and you are going to learn in my full course regarding this procedure. Therefore, confirm their financial readiness. You have to confirm the buyer's financial readiness before even mentioning a RIP test. That's important. Protect your product, protect your reputation. That's important in this industry. Therefore, if you are ready to learn more, I say here is join the full training. First of all, learn. Before starting the business, learn. Join the full training. This is just one lesson from the field. If you want to protect your deals, spot fake buyers, and secure real transactions, hit that subscribe button, share this video, and click below to enroll in full training that will help you to become successful in this industry. Let's jump into the next video. Thank you.